Ever heard of the Andites? No, well, buckle up because today we're diving into the Urantia book and this group, the Andites, that you've probably never even heard of, but they might just be responsible for shaping civilization as we know it.
It's a fascinating claim, that's for sure.
Uh-huh.
And the book really goes deep into their whole story. And it picks up, get this, after the biblical Adam and Eve.
Okay, so set the stage for us. Who were these mysterious Andites and where do they fit into, the grand scheme of history according to the Urantia book?
Okay, picture this. Mesopotamia, around 25,000 years ago. That is where the book says that the Andites first emerged. They were a blend of, get this, Adamites. Those are the descendants of Adam and Eve, the Nodites, which is another advanced group that's mentioned in the book, all mixed in with other humans that were evolving at the time.
So it's like a genetic cocktail for, greatness, I guess you could say.
Yeah, exactly. And the Urantia book doesn't hold back.
Yeah.
It calls them straight up the best all-around human stock since those pure line Adamites.
Wow. Okay, so what made them so special? I mean, was it just like good genes? Or was there more to it?
It's definitely more nuanced than that. The book really emphasizes this unique blend of strengths, cultural, intellectual, and even social strengths that they had. They weren't just strong, they were smart, they were organized, and get this, they were known for their sense of humor.
Humor. That's not something you often hear about, when you're talking about ancient civilizations. What was so funny about the Andites? Did they tell jokes?
Well, the book doesn't really go into stand-up routines or anything, but it suggests that their humor, it was marked by wit and this kind of keen observation of the world around them. Almost like, a sign of their social intelligence, a way of navigating their world with a lighter touch.
Yeah, I get it. So we have this really gifted group, but they weren't content to just stay put in Mesopotamia, were they? I mean, the book kind of paints them as adventurers, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Urantia book is very clear about this. They had this restless spirit, this real thirst for exploration, and it led them on these incredible journeys across the planet. Like over thousands of years, they migrated, they spread their culture, their genes across Eurasia, North Africa, even reaching the Pacific Islands.
Wow. Talk about getting around. They really got around. But they weren't just like going around conquering new lands, right? What was their whole, what was your MO? How did they interact with these other groups that they encountered along the way?
That's where it gets really interesting, right? Because the book really emphasizes this idea that the Andites were as much about blending as they were about spreading. They intermarried with the other existing populations, and that created this really vibrant mix of cultures, languages, ideas.
Yeah. So we have these cultural ambassadors, fanning out across the globe, right? But what kind of impact did that actually have? Did it just sort of fade into the background, or did they leave a lasting mark?
Well, the book really seems to think they left a mark.
Okay.
Yeah. The Urantia book credits them with some pretty major contributions, suggesting they were this hidden hand behind some really big developments in civilizations all over the place.
Like what? Give us some specifics. What did these contributions actually look like, on the ground?
Okay, so take agriculture, for example.
Yeah.
The book says they weren't just, planting crops here and there.
Right.
They were pioneers. They were bringing these really advanced techniques like irrigation and crop rotation with them. And these innovations that would have allowed them and all the communities they came into contact with to actually thrive in all sorts of challenging environments.
So it's more than just spreading culture. It's like they're sharing these practical skills that helped civilizations flourish and grow.
Exactly.
Okay, what about their artistic side? What kind of examples does the book give about their art?
Well, it describes their art as being really into intricate geometric patterns. Which is interesting because you see echoes of that style in all sorts of ancient art forms around the world.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of fascinating to think that those designs might still be, inspiring artists even today.
Yeah.
Carrying a whisper of Andite influence across, millennia.
That's incredible. But even with all their skills and their ability to blend in, nothing lasts forever, right? So what does the book say about what eventually happened to the Andites, especially the ones who stayed behind in Mesopotamia?
Yeah, well, like all empires, theirs eventually crumbled.
Of course.
Around 8,000 years ago, the book says that their homeland in Mesopotamia got hit by this double whammy: internal strife and all this external pressure from nomadic tribes.
Oh, so it's the classic case of internal struggles weakening a civilization just as these outside forces start to close in.
Yeah, exactly. And to make matters worse, the book even mentions these devastating floods.
Oh, no.
Possibly linked to climate change.
Wow.
That further contributed to their decline.
It's kind of a stark reminder that even the most advanced civilizations can still be vulnerable to the forces of nature.
For sure.
But even within this decline, I thought the book highlighted at least one group that managed to hold on a little bit longer than the rest. Weren't the Sumerians, with their own really advanced civilization, considered like a last bastion of Andite influence in the region?
That's right. The book suggests that the Sumerians, down by the Persian Gulf, represented this concentrated echo of the Endites,
Okay.
and in particular their Nodite cultural heritage. They were known for their powerful city-states, their innovations in writing and math,
Right.
and of course their own stunning contributions to art and literature.
It's so interesting to think of them as almost like this time capsule, you know?
Yeah.
They're offering us a glimpse into what Andite civilization might have looked like way back when it was at its peak.
Right.
But even with all their ingenuity and their cultural strength, they weren't immune to those external pressures forever, were they?
No.
Right.
Unfortunately, not even the Sumerians, with all their advanced knowledge and their really unified societal structure,
Right.
could withstand wave after wave of these nomadic tribes that were pushing down from the north, according to the Urantia book.
It sounds like a story of resilience, but also a reminder that even the most powerful civilizations can be overwhelmed by, this constant pressure of conflict and environmental change. So it sounds like even though like the Andite homeland is it's gone, their story doesn't end there.
Right.
What about the groups that ventured out, across the globe? What happened to their legacy? Did they have one?
Well, that's where things get really, really interesting. Because the Urantia book suggests that, in a way, by leaving their homeland, they actually amplified their influence.
Really?
Yeah, like they wove their story into the very fabric of civilizations all over the world.
I mean, we talked about their impact on agriculture, on art, but the book also mentions something about them influencing languages,
Yeah.
which is a big claim.
That's a huge claim.
Mm-hmm.
And it specifically links them to the development of the Indo-European languages,
Wow.
which is incredible when you think about it, because that's a language family that's spoken by billions of people today.
Mm.
It's incredible to think that this group that most of us have never even heard of could have played a role in shaping the very way we communicate today.
It really is. It's mind-blowing. Does the book say where this language development took place?
Yeah. It places them in the highlands of Turkestan,
Okay.
which is a region that's kind of known for being this crossroads of cultures. So you can imagine this melting pot of people, languages blending and evolving as these different groups interacted and intermarried.
Yeah.
So it gives us this fascinating glimpse into the deep, ancient roots of languages that we might speak or hear every single day.
It really makes you think about the interconnectedness of human history. What might seem like these isolated cultures could actually be linked in ways that we never even imagined.
Absolutely. And the Andites, even though they're this forgotten name to most people, they serve as this powerful example of that interconnectedness. Their story, as told by the Urantia book, suggests that we are all part of this much larger tapestry,
Yeah.
woven together by these threads of migration, cultural exchange, and, just shared ancestry.
It really makes you wonder what other forgotten stories are hidden within our history, just kind of waiting to be unearthed.
It really does. Maybe the next time we encounter a cultural practice that feels familiar, a linguistic quirk, even a technological innovation, we might just pause and consider, could this be a whisper from a forgotten civilization like the Andites, just carried on the winds of time?
It kind of gives a whole new meaning to the phrase lost and found, doesn't it? Well, a huge thank you to you for taking us on this deep dive into the world of the Andites. This has been incredible.
My pleasure.